Go.
Everyone in this room watches movies. We watch movies all the time, and we watch movies, a countless number of movies a year. But what if I told you that out of all of those movies that we watch every year, only maybe less than 5 of them are directed by women? Today, I will share with you some statistics about female directors in the film industry. I will share with you some of their personal experiences, and I will talk to you I will try and describe to you why this is an issue. Now, these disturbing statistics are not just in the mainstream Hollywood film industry, they're all over the film industry, in festivals, and even the Oscars. In Hollywood, only 5% of Hollywood is made up of female directors, and only 4.4% of the top 100 box office hits between 2002 and 2012 were directed by women, and that was taken from an infograph published by the Huffington Post. And in 2013, the only 2 films that were in this top 100 that were directed by women were Frozen and Carrie. The Oscars, for the Oscars, it's even more disturbing. There have been only 4 women in 86 years to have been nominated for the Best Director Oscar. Those women were Lena Wertmuller in the 1970s, Jane Campion in 1993, Sofia Coppola in 2003, and Catherine Bigelow in 2009. And she was the only one to ever win an Oscar. And I remember watching the Oscars that year, and when they called her name out and she went up to get her award, they said that she was the only female to ever win the Best Director Oscar, and I was like, that's weird. And it's also very disturbing in the Cannes Film Festival, which is the biggest film festival in the entire world. It's where people go to sell films, people go to show their films, all that. Jane Campion, who I mentioned previously, is the only woman to ever win the festival's top prize, the Palme d'Or, and she won it in 1993, the same year she was for the same movie. And she shares, I couldn't find this picture anywhere, but she shares this story. She said that a few years after she won, they had a big 50th anniversary at Cannes, and they had all the Palme d'Or winners gathered up on the stage. And she said it was very disturbing because she was the only woman there. Out of 50 or 60 men, she was the only woman. And Cannes, every year they say that they're going to make it better and include more women into the competition, but the past few years it's been 2 to 3 women each. And I think in 2013 there was only 1 woman in competition. And this is a weird statistic to see against other film festivals like Sundance and Berlin, who really don't see it as an issue because of their diverse competitions. I mean, it's not really a big deal. They just let anybody in, really. It's not as strict as Cannes, I guess. Now for the testimony for some female directors. In an LA Independent roundtable discussion of female directors, Nicole Hall of Center was sharing some of her background, and she said that it was always a struggle to get films made, and she didn't know why. And it was always a struggle to not just get films made, to get into film school and really prove herself to all these big executives. And she goes on to say that talent has no gender, and that there is not a lack of female directors in the industry, but a lack of want for them. Now that I've shared with you a testimony, I would like to try and explain why. This is a quote from Lynn Ramsey, a female director who was included in the Cannes competition in 2011. And this is about demanding male versus demanding female directors. And this quote goes a long way in trying to get into the head of some of these big executives who don't think that women belong in the industry. She says, they can be seen as artistic and creative and having huge integrity, whereas women can be seen as difficult and problematic. The gender imbalance in directing is a bit like a country not being filmed, and that country not having a voice. It really does matter. And Jane Campion, who I've quoted numerous times in this speech, says in a Guardian article, I think you'd have to say there's somewhat inherent sexism in the industry. It does feel very undemocratic, and women do notice. Time and again, we don't get our share of representation. But maybe things will turn around. Catherine Bigelow, who I've said was the only woman ever to win an Oscar for directing, she makes these great action movies like The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30, who make good money at the box office, and a lot of people love them, not just women, men and women alike love them. And Ava DuVernay, who was the first woman, I believe, to win the directing award at the Sundance Film Festival. I think she won in 2010. She directed an episode of the hit series Scandal, and it was the episode was so popular that it literally broke Twitter. Like, it made Twitter shut down. Like, everybody was live tweeting it. So things are beginning to turn around for women in the industry. But what can we do? How can we solve this issue? It's not like we can force young girls to be directors when they grow up just so we can have this balance. That's not fair. So I believe simply by talking about and recognizing that this is an issue, we're taking a big step forward. Maybe if we talk loud enough, the film industry will hear us and take a big step for themselves and allow women in the industry more opportunities. Thank you.